Hi everybody, Mr. Politics here, and welcome to another video. Last night, MPs voted to remove immunity for our Northern Ireland veterans. In other words, it's open season now on our Northern Ireland veterans, our soldiers who served in Northern Ireland. Meanwhile, ex-terrorists have been given a get out of jail free card. This is the ultimate betrayal by Keir Starmer and the rest of his MPs who voted for this. They have now been given the human rights lawyers to prosecute our Northern Ireland veterans. It doesn't matter what they've done. They were now free to be prosecuted. This is all because of that traitor Starmer. And before him, it was Tony Blair when they called the Good Friday, brought the Good Friday Agreement in. He gave ex-terrorists comfort letters so they could avoid prosecution. Meanwhile, our Northern Ireland veterans who served in the Troubles will be open to prosecution. And like I've said, ex-terrorists they won't be prosecuted. This is the ultimate betrayal of our veterans by this traitor, Keir Starmer. After all, what he has on his backbenches are terrorist lovers. They sympathised with what was happening in Northern Ireland, and especially Jeremy Corbyn. He was a well-known Republican sympathiser. Corbyn was, but it looks like that Starmer has become one. What he's done this for is to deflect from all his problems he's got at the moment, because Starmer is in a lot of trouble, and he's going to be even more trouble with this. Our soldiers who served in Northern Ireland during the 70s and 80s and the 90s are now going to be open for prosecution. Any little thing that these human rights lawyers and families of dead Republican terrorists, they will bring claims against our soldiers, and they will be dragged through the courts. This is going to decades to come. Our Northern Ireland veterans will be dragged through the courts, and all this is the fault of Starmer. If anybody should be prosecuted, it should be him. He's the one who should be prosecuted, the traitor. No wonder our army generals, are angry with Starmer. He's betrayed them, and he expects them to fight for him if there is ever a war. Well, I don't think they will. The soldiers of today, who, if they have to be sent to fight a war, they will be refused to go and fight for him, for Starmer and this country, because they know that if they did something wrong, years later, future governments like Starmer and his Labour government will come after them and prosecute them. I mean, we've already seen no end of prosecutions, attempted prosecutions of late, they've all failed because there's not enough evidence to convict the our former Northern Ireland veterans who are now in their old age and now in probably in their 70s and 80s, and them still facing prosecution for something they did nearly 50 years ago. But of course, that won't stop Starmer. After all, he's a human rights lawyer. He thinks more of the human rights of terrorists than anybody else. If this doesn't end Starmer, I don't know what will. This will most definitely finish him. And it ought to. Like I've said, he's the one who should be face prosecution for what he's doing to the country. The man's a traitor. And no wonder everybody's angry about this. The reason why this was done because to keep the Republicans happy. It's just to keep them happy from threatening to go back to starting the troubles all over again. This is why the Good Friday Agreement was introduced. I know it was time to end all the bloodshed which was going on in the 70s and 80s and 90s, innocent people losing their lives, but it should have been done better than this. This is the fault of Tony Blair. He brought in the Good Friday Agreement, and it seems to be one-sided. He agreed with Sinn Féin, especially Gerry Adams and that Martin McGuinness, that former British soldiers who served in Northern Ireland would be prosecuted, and the ex-Republican terrorists, they wouldn't. They will be allowed to walk free and avoid jail. No wonder Starmer is the most hated Prime Minister this country's ever had. And it's only going to get a lot worse for him. Anyway, this Mr. Politics here signing off. And remember, don't believe the lies.